Good Thursday evening, everyone. It's January 26, 2023. We're going to look through. This is the pattern that's coming up next week. It's looking very nasty across the area. A lot of details have got to be worked out, but we're going to have multiple waves of low pressure. Like I said, with a big wintry mess, there could be. It depends on the depth of the cold air. Snow, ice, sleet, and or rain. Pretty much everything is possible in this pink, which is the winter battleground zone for this next week. Also, we have this big southeastern ridge trying to fight back, and then we have the polar vortex that's going to sit up here by southern Hudson Bay in Canada and shove down very cold Arctic air. And where those meet in the middle, this is what you have. So I really do think that the Arctic air is not being very represented very well on any models. I think the models are still too warm. I think that's it's gonna be later this weekend before we actually find out where this Arctic boundary sets up, because wherever this sets up, north of there, we'll have the chances of basically on the southern extent ice, then going to sleet, then snow in the northern periphery of the precipitation shield that comes through. Every time one of these waves of low pressure come through, the cold air is going to filter down just a little bit more each time. And I'll show you that in models here in just a second. So, moderate to heavy rain along and just south of this front as well. There could be some moderate freezing rain or possibly heavy freezing rain as well, depending on the strength of these systems. These waves coming through this next week. Lots of uncertainties still remain on how far south this front goes and how much ice, snow, sleet accumulations could happen. Who gets ice? Who gets sleet? Who gets snow? All those questions still have to be answered. Okay. All right, I'm going to look at the Canadian model right now because I think it's got a decent handle on this low level cold air, and I'll show you why here in just a second. So here's where this boundary is going to set up. This is Sunday morning. This is where the Arctic boundary is going to be. There's going to be some snow, freezing rain possibly up here in Missouri, into Kansas, into Illinois as well. And look at all this cold air up here just waiting in the wings. Very cold up there across the northern plains. And all this is slowly trying to ooze south as we go through the week. As we get these ripples of low pressure coming through, it's going to drag more and more cold air and ooze it southward as we go throughout the week. Okay? All right, here is Monday morning temperatures. Here is the now Arctic frontal boundary here, and then very cold behind it. And I think these temperatures, especially, here, let me tell you something. The Ozarks basically are here, right in here. So the Arctic air likes to flood down the plains here. That's why Texas usually gets a big blast, and then it tries to go around the Ozarks. So this air will try to go around the Ozarks as well and cut into the delta regions of Arkansas, and then go basically down into the mid-Mississippi Valley here, or southern Mississippi Valley, through western Kentucky, Tennessee, into northwestern parts of Mississippi as well, and slowly kind of ooze down as we go forward. Like I said, I think this is underdone, but it's got a decent idea at the moment compared to other modeling. So this is Tuesday morning. I'm just showing you basically where this progression of this front is going here throughout this mid-south here. And you can see where the Ozarks are. up here where basically 20, it's 21 in Fayetteville, 25 Mountain Home, there's 16 up here in Springfield. You go just a couple hundred miles north and it's below zero, 20 below zero, 15 to 20 below zero up here in Iowa for lows on Tuesday morning. This is not wind chills, folks. So brutal Arctic air is coming down and it's going to meet with this southeastern ridge trying to fight back. You see where all this warm air is down here, and this is basically where we meet in the middle. That's why we have that big battleground area coming up. Now, it all depends on the depth of cold air. Now you can see where the Ozarks is up here, and then you can see where the Delta regions are. See where this cold air is oozing down through the Mississippi Valley here, then towards western Tennessee, Kentucky. You're in the mid 20s basically. You got 28 in Memphis. Like I said, I think it's got a good handle on the cold air. I just don't think it's cold enough going forward here. So. Look at this boundary. I mean, a matter of miles will make a difference here. Once that front sets up, south of there, it's going to be in the 50s, ramp up into the mid 60s, possibly close to 70. Then you go 30, 40 miles north, go over that front, and it's going to drop off, and you might get into some freezing rain or sleet just on the other side of that front, 10, 20, 30 miles in. Okay, so short distances is going to make a lot of difference on what kind of weather you see. So you need to pay attention and figure out where this front's going to go, because somebody could this depends on how strong these ripples of low pressure, these waves of low pressure that come across, how strong they are, how much moisture comes up out of the Gulf and overrides this boundary, goes up over that shallow cold air. Some models are painting a very grim picture on significant freezing rain over parts of the area, and even as far south as northern Louisiana into northern half of Mississippi as well, and then southern Arkansas back into Texas, and then north of there, basically transitioning to probably more of a freezing rain sleet, and then north, even the northern fringe of any precip. The precip shield will probably be mixed with snow, sleet and snow on the northern periphery, because this cold air is getting deeper as you go north, okay? So, with all that being said, this is just through Tuesday. We go into Wednesday now. You can see, look at this. We got teens getting into Arkansas, possibly all the way to the Boot Hill, Missouri, 25 in Memphis. We got, like I said, below freezing all the way down to Monroe, Louisiana. Mid-20s back here in Dallas, 20s all the way down through central Texas. We got 32 basically, I think at San Antonio or Austin, Texas. So very, very cold. And like I said, this polar vortex is going to sit next week, basically in the southern part of Hudson Bay in Canada, and just drain this very cold air down. And that thing's just sitting up there waiting for something to kick it down. And so we have multiple waves of cold air trying to press down as this southeastern ridge fights back at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to show you this model. This is the most aggressive, but I'm going to show you this is just a possibility of what's to come. All right, we're going to start off with Saturday. Here's the Arctic front coming down. Going to meet up with some moisture, and then some freezing rain, sleet and snow breaking out in Missouri. Southern Missouri, and with snow in the northern half of Missouri into Illinois, Indiana as well. And then a brief break as this cold air is continuously oozing in. You got massive high pressure up here, plus that polar vortex, like I told you, funneling down cold air as well. And then you're going to have probably some northeast winds coming down as well along the delta regions too. So it's going to bleed in that cold air, I think, a little bit faster than what models have been saying. But this model has done a good job in the past, especially last year when we had that big ice storm out here in Tennessee. Okay, so here we are. This is Tuesday night or early Tuesday morning. Freezing rain basically through Dallas, through northern Arkansas, sleet on the northern periphery. Like I said, I'm just showing you this as a possibility. This is just one model. This is going to change. Okay, we have a lot of time here to go over to get nailed down details, but I'm just showing you the possibility here of what's to come. Okay, so here's the first wave. If this came true, you'd have freezing rain all the way to Memphis, western parts of Tennessee, Kentucky, eastern Arkansas. You can see where that cold is trying to ooze down that Delta region and the Mississippi River Valley here. So that's something to keep in mind, because the cold will go around the Ozarks and try to ooze down. All right. Freezing rain basically going through Texas, sleet on the northern periphery here. This wave moves east through Kentucky and Tennessee. And then we have another wave coming. Like I said, as these ripples of low pressure right along this frontal boundary, this stalled out frontal boundary, cold air will come down a little bit further south after each wave comes through. And then this, like I said, this is Wednesday. You see the freezing rain even down into Tennessee, parts of Mississippi, even still going on in Texas here. Sleet on the very northern periphery, and then here comes. This is Wednesday now. Wednesday morning, here comes another wave, and then look how far south it is now. Parts of far northeastern parts of Louisiana, southern Arkansas, bleeding into Mississippi, back through central Texas, sleet on the northern side of this in Texas, and then snow on the backside. Now the main system's trying to kick out here. This would be very heavy freezing rain if this model came true. Louisiana, back into Texas with snow on the backside into Oklahoma as the upper levels cool down pretty dramatically, as this upper level storm system is finally going to come through. And then this front tries to move back north as we get through Thursday into Friday. Very heavy freezing rain through most of Arkansas, and then the upper levels cool down, and then it'll change to snow pretty rapidly behind this in Oklahoma, parts of Texas, in through Arkansas and Missouri as we go forward. But the damage could be done by then, and the snow will just lay on top of whatever fell most of the week. Okay, so there's a lot. There's going to be multiple waves of disturbances that come through, multiple waves of precipitation. That's why I've been saying there's a lot of uncertainties where this front's going to end up, where this cold air is going to how far this cold air is going to push down, who's going to get ice, who's going to get sleet, and who's going to get snow out of this. So stay tuned for more. All right, so I'm going to show you this again. Here's where I think the winter battleground zone's setting up. Lots of uncertainties, like I've said. Multiple waves of low pressure with a big wintry mess across the region, across the pink areas here. This could go south, more north. It just depends on who's going to try to win that battle the most. And I think the Arctic air is going to win eventually here. So, like I said, multiple waves of low pressure coming through here. Snow, ice, sleet, rain, just the whole mess coming through this area. Moderate to heavy rain along and south of this front. There could be moderate to heavy freezing rain as well. It just depends on how strong these low pressure systems are these systems that come through wave after wave after wave, basically from starting midweek or the beginning of next week, lasting most of the week. So this could be a multi-day event. So you need to prepare for that. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. I've always said that. I just hope and pray this freezing rain and stuff won't happen, because like I said, there is models that are painting a pretty grim picture of ice accumulations. Okay, so uncertainties remain on how far south this front goes, how much ice, snow, sleet accumulations will happen, and where, and who gets ice, who gets sleet, and who gets snow out of this. Okay, so there's a lot of questions that remain with this. I think we'll have a better handle on it as we get closer, but I think the Canadian overall has got a better idea of where this low level air is pretty much entrenching and going around the Ozarks, bleeding or pretty much draining down into eastern Arkansas, the Delta regions, and through the Mississippi River Valley here, and then going around the west side as well into Texas. So there's a lot of players next week. We just got to figure out, like I said, who's gonna get ice, who's gonna get sleet, and who's possibly gonna get some snow next week. Stay tuned. I'm gonna have a lot more as days goes ahead. But if you are anywhere in this pink, you probably need to prepare for some ice. Possibly. I hate to say this, possibly an ice storm. And I've been talking about this battle zone that was going to set up since July when I put out my winter forecast. All right. Have a great evening, everyone. I will probably talk to you again tomorrow.